about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just discount? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Spending time all alone, sending my songs to the phone, dreaming of a better home, while focused on trying to hone this craft, witchcraft, the Bluez, let this last.
I don't know if the earth is painted blue.
That was the great sounds of Watson with Outside on WNHH-LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, with my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City made, EZ Bluez is in the building. Easy, you are better with introductions more than me. Who do we have with us today on Behind the Brand?
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this time, take you back. 2019, the before times. We're sitting there in Waterbury, a place called Brooklyn Cafe. Shane Penguin is playing this set, and in walks this man with luxurious dreads. I jump into the crowd to have a moment, and while everyone else is ignoring my insanity, this man reaches out his hand and he embraces me. We share a moment. From that point in time, I started following this man's career. He is it's actually one of my favorite singer-songwriters. But not only that, he has learned to play the social media game unto itself. And for that and that alone, I think it's incredible. Every year he had people freaking out because he was April Fool's in them and he was cutting his dreads, until finally, happy Easter, he actually cut them. No one believed him. So put your hands together. Again, if you are driving, do not take your hands away from 10 and 2. Don't crash. He is crash worthy though. David Taylor Coffey. What's up, brother? How you been?
I'm doing great. Wow. That was quite the introduction. Oh my gosh, I'm flattered and bringing me back to a Brooklyn Cafe. No, you did an amazing performance. You're speaking so highly of me, bringing this energy. But I mean, your whole thing with Penguin, you have such a passion, such an energy. I didn't just get drawn to you just for the heck of it. I was drawn to you because of your own stage presence and energy. So to hear you, recognize a similar energy in me is extremely flattering. So thank you so much. Of
course, man. Now, let's let the audience know a little bit about you. All right. What was like, hey, I am going to completely give up on financial security and become a musician. What made you make that transition?
Oh my gosh. Where do I begin?
Beginning.
So I grew up with my father playing guitar. So I was always kind of drawn to it through him. He actually got into it because my uncle got me a guitar for Christmas when I was young. And my dad had played piano as a kid, but he ended up teaching himself guitar. And, after seeing my dad play, I was like, I want to be like that. I want to play. And, I tried a few times when I was younger, and it actually took me a little bit of time to get into it. Just because, one of the big things is playing guitar hurt my fingers. It wasn't until I was in high school, I really started getting serious about it. And yeah, since then, it's always been a source of joy. It's always been a source of comfort. It's been a great vehicle to express myself through songwriting and such. When you ask, oh, why did you decide to become a musician? It'd be easier to tell you the reasons why I would choose against it. I don't know. It's been such a huge part of my life. Yeah, I guess I was just drawn to it. For a lot of reasons. Like I said, I'm kind of talking in circles right now. But I think I recognized in music. I recognized in it, an outlet for my thoughts and my feelings that I didn't really know how to express other ways. I know that there have been a lot of times where I've felt very, very low, and through songwriting, through playing shows, through listening to other people's songs, it's been a great way for me to process how I'm feeling. I mean, yeah, after that, I started playing at open mics. Eventually, I started playing actual shows that I was booked for. I played in a few bands starting in college, many that were like punk or garage rock of some kind. 2019, shortly after we met for the first time, or actually, was it before?
It was right before.
Now I'm trying to think. When did we meet in 2019? Was it before or after the summer?
It was after the summer. You had just come back from doing a tour.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'd always wanted to go on tour. There's a whole story behind, the events that led up to that tour. But I mean, I guess I started it because it seemed intriguing. I stuck with it because it just became a source of joy and comfort for me. And it's just such a great outlet for
me. Right.
And since then it's grown. And for shows to be coming back now, finally, people are getting vaccinated, cases are going down with COVID. It's just unbelievably like rejuvenating to me. Which again, I can get further into just the way quarantine has affected the music scene itself, and now that things are trying to open up, just the energy that I've been feeling, inspiration I've been feeling. There's so much to go into. You're the interviewer, please. You tell me what you want to get into.
Well, first and foremost, I love how you started it off by saying, when you were younger, you kind of played guitar, but it hurt your fingers. A lot of people don't really understand that. A lot of people don't understand that you're taking very tender flesh and you're putting that very tender flesh on these steel strings. That's a whole lot of tension. And I have played until my fingers have bled. Oh, yeah. I have played the next day just because I'm that silly. But these are the sacrifices that are necessary. And that as some of, I guess, the older people this is the paying the dues aspect. It's not just about going and playing shows. It's also about dedicating yourself to that pain, dedicating and learning to channel that pain into art. And that really seems to be the focus of what really drew you to music. It became a very good avenue for you to channel what you were going through and push it through an artistic spectrum. I say all the time, musicians take the pain and agony that's going on in the world, they focus it, and then they put it on a kaleidoscope, and then they beam that directly into your heart. And now that's if it's done right. Now, I'm not knocking some of the superficial artists out there that are trying to make their money, and they're shaking it. Hey, you're doing what you got to do. And at some point they're channeling their things as well. But someone like you who takes all the content and makes those statements, because going through your catalog, you were not afraid to make statements that could isolate you from the mainstream. Because you're like, whatever, I'm going to make music that I want to make. I make music that makes me happy. And if I'm happy, then I could, hopefully someone else is. And I love how you continue to bring it back to a positive energy. And this is how you feel.
Thank you very much.
I know that you've been working in and out of studios. Of course, brother, of course. You've been in and out of studios working with the amazing Sage Sound Studios for some of your record work. You also do a little bit of home recording as well. What is more fun for you? To do it a DIY kind of thing or to go into a studio?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question.
Well,
the joy of going into a studio is it's ultimately less work for me. So in that way, it's a little more fun.
Right.
But I mean, there is like a joy I found, to doing your own work on your songs, like, getting the song ready that you had me send to you. That was all like home recorded. And, like I was up to like 4 a.m, just like going through levels and everything. And it's like, I missed it. There is like, there is something very special, I think, to doing it completely yourself, like home recording it. And there's definitely a sort of feel a lot of times that you can get from home recordings that you can't get from studio recordings. But by the same metric, there's also a feel, and there's certain things you can do in a studio that you can't always do at home.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. You're saying like, oh, what's more fun? It's like, oh, you're asking me to pick my favorite kid here. You know, they're both wonderful in different ways. You know, I mean, I will say, you know, like I said, there's something really special about home recording and, you know, putting in all the work yourself and like really like in a way making it your own. But again, there's also a real beauty to like working with a producer and getting their perspective and bringing in different ideas that maybe you wouldn't have come across if you were doing it alone. So I mean, you know, like I said, don't make me pick between two beautiful children. They're both really they're very special and different. You know?
Right. Well, a lot of that too, when dealing with a studio, you have an ability to use things you wouldn't be able to use before. Like, for example, if you're a piano player, maybe you have your Yamaha keyboard at home, but you can go to like Horizon Studios and there's a Fender Rhodes there. And you get to take that song and then put it through a Fender Rhodes, you know. Or when I first started doing like solo stuff, here I am, you know, playing at home on a $150 beater guitar. And then I go into a studio and there's a $1,500 Martin that they're like, hey, play your songs on this. And, you know, you hear the angels sing when you strum it. And you're like, my songs aren't good enough for this. Nor is my guitar talent. Like, you're literally trying to polish a turd here. You know, but you know, but it is something that is there, and it's always great to have that outside opinion when dealing with you know, a producer or studio. But even the do-it-yourself thing that you did, even the track that we're going to be playing later, you sent it out to be mastered. Now, for those people that have no idea, they've heard the word mastering, they see it on the digital download. They see, oh, mastered by so-and-so.
Yeah.
What is master? Now that you know, you're a do-it-yourself recording artist, you know, and you can actually explain to the people who have no idea what mastering is, what mastering is. Totally putting you on the spot here.
You know, I'm going to do my best to tell you what mastering is, because truthfully, you know, I've said about like the beauty of like home recording and doing it yourself. I got to give a quick shout out to my buddy Joseph Billy 3, who is the one who actually mastered this track that we're going to listen to. He is. Let me just talk about him for a second, you know, because he is amazing. He's done such great work. I got acquainted with him because he was like on a tour and he was coming through New England. I was trying to get something set up for him. Didn't quite work out. But, you know, we still kept in touch, and he said, yeah, you know, I do like recording work and such. So I'm like, oh, that's amazing. He has been so reliable. I can send something to him like, hey, dude, like I told him, like, you know, I'm getting interviewed this coming Monday. You know, they say they want to master by like Thursday. If I send it to you like tonight, you can get it by then. He's like, oh yeah, I got it. You know, I got Wednesday off. I've got time in the morning on Thursday. So he's the one who's behind the mastering. So the mixing, which is what I do, that's like going by like every track, making sure things aren't clipping. The mastering, I'll admit, that's a little, I don't want to say above my pay grade, but it's a little above my pay grade. But when you go into that, that's like extending sort of this mixing process, and really making sure that whatever you're sending out to them, whatever is actually getting mastered, making sure it sounds good on multiple platforms. I know that I've recorded songs and mixed them without mastering, and they might sound really good on my computer, but not really good on a CD, and so on and so forth. But again, when it really comes into the really deep differences or the deep features of mastering and such, I'm not going to try to talk out of my butt right now, because it's not really something I do.
Okay.
I mean, get next person you have on the show. Hopefully they're a little more versed with mastering and they can give you a more satisfactory answer. But yeah, no, mastering, as I have understood it and witnessed it, it's been taking a mix and really like making sure, like really like polishing it off that much more and making sure it sounds good through different avenues. Like I said, I pass that off to the next guy, you know. one more time, I'll name drop him. My buddy Joseph Billy 3. He's a spectacular folk punk musician based out of New Jersey, but he's also a great producer, a great masterer, mixer, and such. And I'm really grateful to have someone that has been like so awesome with like sending something out to him and then him being able to get it back to me so quickly, and also to be able to like work with me. Like I sent something to him one time and I tried to get a little experimental. I had I recorded like some water running. I was like at like a fish tank, you know, water filter. It was a song about a pirate. I thought, oh cool, get the water effects. I put that in, and he told me like, you know, like to be honest, this is kind of complicating it. It's kind of like it's adding a little more, you know. And it's like, I liked that honesty, you know. It's a cool idea. Maybe it can be applied to a song, but for this one, you know, didn't quite work. And you know, I'm really glad he gave me that input. It's like, you know what, you're right. You know, it's just adding more to something that just didn't need it at the time. So his honesty has always been like really appreciated. Joseph Billy 3. He's a spectacular musician and spectacular support for my music.
David, I appreciate your honesty on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City made EZ Bluez is in the building doing his great dance. He's going to pass the baton to you. Go right ahead.
Well, see, I love how you went into that explanation. And for the simplest answer for those that are at home, everyone watches these cooking shows, right? Everyone watches these amazing cooking shows. And you know, you can make a heck of a grilled cheese sandwich at home. That grilled cheese sandwich is amazing. But you're not going to get $30 for this grilled cheese sandwich that you made at home. But that same grilled cheese with the same cheese and the same butter, when it's put on a nice fancy plate, and it's all about the presentation, and you go to that five-star restaurant and get that grilled cheese, you're going to spend $30. And that's kind of what mastering does, is it takes it and it elevates the sound. At some points in time, it'll actually bump up, usually on a good master, it'll bump up the chorus, because the chorus is the catchy earworm thing that we are so programmed in society to love. You know, and it will then help to level out. Nice, he's pouring water. Hydration is key, ladies and gentlemen. Hydration is key. But you know, it will also help.
Today, absolutely.
Oh, totally.
The condensation on my glass and such, but yeah.
Nice. You know, and you know, it'll help level out the vocals, or pull the vocals further up front, or push it back a little bit more so it sits on the track correctly. So yeah, that I think you nailed, and I love your honesty about like, hey, I could talk about it, but I'm not an expert on it. And a lot of that gets lost in our industry, because our industry is all about the flash. And, you know, everyone's an expert. I've never done it before, but I'm an expert on it. And if you don't believe me, I can talk about it for 45 minutes, not say a dang word, and you're going to believe me. You know, I've made a career out of it. It's amazing. Now,
honestly,
again,
it's the best policy. No,
exactly. I'm going to now make it even harder for you. I'm going to ask you to pick your favorite child. Oh, no, I'm dead serious. This is the one that's the songwriter never wants to acknowledge.
Watch what you say, Easy.
I got you. What is
my favorite track?
Your favorite track, the track that every time you hear it, or every time you play it, or actually, what's the one track that you don't play live because it hurts too much?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, yeah, right. So, I mean, to answer your first question, my favorite track, before I get to the track that hurts too much, because I've got an interesting answer for that. You know,
nice.
You know, I think about all the songs I've written and all the songs I've recorded. You know, back in 2019, right before I went on tour, I released this album called Nothing Short of Mediocre. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff that was like leading up to that very difficult time of my life. A lot of like stress and anxiety going on, you know, but I'm very proud of myself for coming out of all of that stronger, and finally, you know, fulfilling my dream at the time to go on tour, which is still a dream of mine. You know, like I'm waiting just a little bit longer for when it's like safe to get on the road and go on tour again. But anyway, on that album,
Sure.
you know, necessarily know if it's the best mixed song, but I think as far as my songwriting goes, one of the songs I'm most proud of is probably called song called Songs for Sarah, and then parentheses it says no, not that one. And that song, you know, without getting too much into everything, that song was written in light of losing a very good friend of mine. So it was I was channeling a lot of difficult emotions, trying to make sense of the world. But you know, when you ask, you know, like, what's the song you don't play too much because it hurts too much? I mean, that song, by many accounts, you know, should be one of the hardest to play. But I think, you know, jumping back to what we were saying before, how music has been a source of comfort and it's helped me process so many things. I think, you know, playing that song as much as I have has been very comforting, and I play it often, quite a bit, you know, because so proud of it, and because again it's given me so much comfort, and I think it's been just a great way to honor my friend. And just, yeah, you know, I think again it's not necessarily the best mixed song because I mixed it. It's not like I went to a studio. I don't consider myself a professional, but it is like one of the songs I'm most proud of, and it's a heavy one for me, but I'm very proud of it. I'm very happy with it.
I think it's absolutely incredible. Now, you just stated the name of your record. Can you say that one more time?
Absolutely. So this album is called Nothing Short of Mediocre.
Okay.
It was released
Hold on.
2019. You can find it.
Hold on. I'm gonna let you get there. But this is the thing that I really want them to lean into and to really get to know you. You have this tongue-in-cheek aspect to you that is absolutely incredible. You know, that title unto itself, some people are like, oh, I guess, like, oh, maybe it's not going to be that good, but it has that tongue-in-cheek, that humor. Even the song that you were talking about, you know, Sarah, oh, not that one. You know, is he talking about Sarah Smiles? Are you singing under the same song? There's so many things that just by having that tongue-in-cheek, you open up the listener to so much more. One of the things that I love to do, and one of the reasons why I do the intro the way that I do, or I do my little dances and stuff, is it's about making the other person laugh. Because the more comfortable someone is, the better interview we're going to have. And the more comfortable, you know, I find, especially as an artist, it is easier to display your pain with a little bit of a sense of humor. You know, Shane Penguin, for example, we write about some very important topics. But because we do it with a 3-foot tall stuffed penguin on stage, more people are like, oh, this is fun. And then they go, oh, wait, you know, now I get to listen. Once you have their attention, it is the truest key. And you're so good at that. And, you know, it is such a part of your personality. Again, I want to talk about, you know, you troll yourself online. Like, let's be real here. This is how intense 2020 has been for you. You've started to troll yourself online. It is by far your TV show, your Facebook TV show is the funniest Facebook TV show I have seen all 2020. It was great, you know, and your whole gimmick. And we'll take it from a wrestling term because I'm definitely a wrestling geek. Your whole gimmick of Coffey, not coffee, you know, or when certain people in power stumbled by saying Kofifi, you wind up changing your Facebook name to Kofifi. You know, you're so on point when it comes to that. And I think it has a lot to do with this amazing tongue-in-cheek personality that you have. And I want to thank you for that. Because like there have been a couple times in 2020 when it was rough. And then when you got married to George Costanza, I was like, wow, this is amazing. More power to you. Oh, you know, I'm putting it all out there. This is an interview, sir. This is an interview.
Oh my God.
I've done my research. you know?
Oh my God.
Are these things that you do just because you get bored? Or are these like strategic marketing aspects?
You know, I think, a big part of it, all this stuff on Facebook. And, for those that may not be familiar, I have several fake accounts on Facebook that I control. Partly it all kind of started actually because I posted a GIF or GIF. That's technically how it's supposed to be pronounced, but I like GIF.
Me too.
I posted a GIF of like Rocky Balboa, punching a thing of like meat in like the meat locker, for the movie, But for some reason that got flagged by Facebook. I was like, what? So I made a fake account to try to get around that. Then that one got muted, so I made a third fake account. When I finally was unmuted, my regular account, I didn't think like, all right, let me get rid of these. It's like, no, let me have some fun with it, And I mean, like, I think one of the big things that comes about it, why I've like kept this saga, which so many people seem so amazed by and so amused by, is it came about through boredom. I won't lie, especially through a pandemic, not being able to go out and see my friends, not feeling comfortable to go out to bars. It's like there's not much else to do except maybe just troll myself on Facebook. But at the same time, it's also, I think, offered that much more reach. I think, when you say like, oh, is it like a clever marketing ploy? I think that's more of just an extension that I think I'm definitely aware of the benefit. It's not my intention necessarily. But yeah, like if I'm sharing this interview on not only my main account, but also one of my other accounts, it kind of like helps generate that much more attention. I might be able to say something on one account that I'm not really comfortable saying on the other account, and it's just in many ways, it's an outlet to make a laugh, amuse myself, amuse other people. And if it helps generate buzz for my music too, by all means, but I won't say that's inherently the reason for it, but it's definitely a happy byproduct, which I'm definitely aware of. So yeah, I mean, go for it. Yeah.
No, it's awesome. And I love the fact that it seems to be like a stumbled on thing. When Tristan and myself, finally landed on the name Shame Penguin, we had no idea what we were getting into. And then, we just kind of like kept on adding a little bit of weirdness to it. And then it became bigger. It became bigger than us. And I see that in what you do, and you do it so naturally. Like I don't think you understand. There are like literally people who get paid a whole lot of money to come up with the ideas that you're just flowing naturally and just being yourself and organically. At one point, like you definitely got me. I will say, like I got fed into, like I started to believe it so much that I thought someone else had hacked you and was pretending to be you. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to call and cancel his credit cards. Like, did he change his passwords? Like, am I about, is he gonna hit me up and ask, for $1,000 donation so he can give me $1 million from Nigeria? I don't know what's going on here. Is he okay? And it's great because it was completely organic. And we lose a lot of that because we are in a super polished world.
Yeah. So there's a lot I have to say about that organicness that you talk about. And again, I'm very flattered by everything you said. It really thank you. You're an amazing interviewer, you're an amazing musician. I'm grateful to call you my friend. So a round of applause to you.
Oh.
Yeah, nothing. Oh my god, nothing but love. But yeah, I think when it comes to music, we said before, there are so many different styles of music, and we don't necessarily want to like shame anyone, for bringing something out really polished, because when I was younger, just a cynical kid, I used to be much more judgmental, I think, of different music and being like, that sucks. But it's one, getting out of quarantine, that's one thing I'm trying to be much less cynical about. It's just music and what people like. People like what they like. I'll admit, I really can't get into pop punk. But I have so many friends that love it. So it's like more power to you. It's like, who am I to be like, it's wrong? And I mean, I also say I don't like pop punk, but then I also find myself listening to like MGK's new album, like the song he does with Halsey. Like I got to admit, like I actually think it's a banger. It's a bop. And also apparently genres are so weird, but apparently Green Day is pop punk. I never considered them pop punk, but I guess they are, and I love Green Day. So again, all the more reason not to be so judgmental and such. But again, I'm getting on a bit of a tangent. Organicness and authenticity. You know, I think it's very important with music and with art to have that honesty, and to have that, not to spend so much energy focusing on an image so much. I mean, and it's applicable to a lot of different things. But I think, you know, you work so hard and you use so much energy to try to create an image, especially one that is like trying to seem authentic. Basically, you're spending so much energy, you're trying so hard to make it look like you're not trying so hard. Something is lost. So like I play in a few other bands. I play with my drummer. Give some name drops, some shout outs. I play with my drummer, Zach Fontanez, in a band called the Human Fund. I also play with Zach. I play bass, and Zach plays drums. We play in a band with our buddy David. I'm going to mispronounce his name. I don't want to. He calls himself David Rusk sometimes, but we play in his band, Socially Inept. You know, and with quarantine, we haven't gotten a chance for the three of us to all play out together. But you know, recently I've been able to play more with Zach with the Human Fund. And you know, one thing I say to people about Zach and about our energy on stage is he is so dedicated to his craft. He's so dedicated to his music. He takes that very seriously, but he doesn't take himself too seriously. And I think that really opens up a lot of honesty and being down to earth and being authentic. Which again, tying it back to like Shane Penguin, I think if you go into something taking yourself too seriously, you are going to lose people. And you're going to lose like some of that magic, I think, in your performance and in your music. If you try so hard to create this image, and again, pardon me if I'm sounding like a broken record and repeating myself. But I see you've just unmuted yourself. If you have something to say, by all means. And then
I had some outside noise I didn't want to filter through, so I mute myself when that happens. But what I was going to say is it makes complete and total sense. Now, again, you're a singer-songwriter, so some people are going to be like, when you ask this question, it's going to be ridiculous, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Are you a fan of Bob Dylan?
Say what?
Are you a fan of Bob Dylan? Yeah.
Bob Dylan.
Okay.
Well,
the reason why I ask is he has a quote that kind of sums up everything you're talking about. You know, in doing this, you're going to be an outlaw. But if you're going to be an outlaw, you better be honest. It's a quote that I hold very, very dear when I do any type of, performance, even when I do weird sketch comedy or, silly skits and stuff like that. I try to make sure that there is a nugget of honesty there. You can build off so much when you're just honest and you're open. And hey, if that means, I am honest and open that I'm a complete and total goofball, and that in this moment, I'm just being a goofball, and that's just the way that it is. Because it's honest, it doesn't become cliche. It doesn't become passé. And sometimes it lands more. And sometimes it completely misses. I personally love when my jokes completely miss because that makes me laugh. Other people, not so much,
Yeah.
But now,
no, definitely. I love Bob Dylan. I love that quote.
We also have somebody. Yeah. Well, we also have somebody that we are both fans of. And I want to take some time to talk about this man because he is such a phenomenal singer-songwriter.
Like
And
you, Easy Blues, a phenomenal singer-songwriter on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City made Easy Blues is in the building. We got David Taylor Coffey, not Coffee, Coffey in the building. Don't call him Coffee, there'll be some problems.
well,
I do what I had to do. Go right ahead.
so one of the first times
I will say.
go ahead.
Well, real quick, Preston, bless you. Thank you so much for having me and such. I love your shout outs to both me and Dustin, but I will say it is pronounced coffee.
It is pronounced coffee.
You know, out of respect for my family and stuff, it is actually pronounced like the drink. It's been a spot of many overdone jokes. But nah, it is coffee.
All right,
That's awesome.
I saw the Instagram post. I was like, you know what? I don't want any problems. Let me just back up. I saw it. All right, okay, his Instagram tag is Coffey.com. All right, let me just stop. I'm not even gonna...
Yeah, no, fair.
No subliminals, nothing about it. So I just had to back up a little bit.
It's still pronounced that way. No, you're good. You're good. It's still pronounced coffee, but
Gotcha.
you know, that tag,
All right.
tag is coffee, Coffey, not coffee, Coffee. To not differentiate any pronunciation difference, but a spelling difference, because very commonly I've seen it spelled EE, not EY, and it's nothing. I'm like, how dare you? It's just like
Curses.
Well, just let me ask.
It's known to be spelled. So it's like,
I have to ask you this corny question. Is coffee like coffee? Drink coffee.
Please. I do drink coffee. Not terribly often. It's more like you know, if I'm not really sleeping very well the night before and I got to be up early or something, you know, I got it in my back pocket. You know, I'll make it occasionally. Like yesterday, I got up for an early Father's Day thing with my sister and my dad, and you know, I work later in the day, so I tend to sleep more. But you know, they wanted us to get together for like 9:50, but they said we'll get there at 9:30. So I'm like, okay. So I had to get up, and my dad, bless him, you know, the one who taught me guitar initially, you know, he comes over with coffee. You know, our namesake. It kept me going. I mean, do I always drink coffee? Not too much. Not enough, I think, to justify all the jokes that have been made about my name, but. No, I'm an appreciator of coffee.
That's awesome. Well, that leads us perfectly into this next part. Someone else that you're appreciative of, and it is another common thread that you and I have, a phenomenal singer-songwriter, and somebody who actually I became a fan of. Like, I liked his music before, but it was a single statement that he had made when they asked him to write a song for a Taylor Swift record. And now, at that point in time, even now, you know, if you write a song for Taylor Swift, you're going to be a millionaire. Like, that's just the way that it goes. And he said no. He'd much rather stand by his integrity. And from that point on, I bought everything Frank Turner humanly possible, because I was like, this man obviously needs money because he makes bad choices like me. So I have to support this man.
Yeah.
What got you to listen to Frank Turner? And do you happen to know this? This is something that I saw him play with. Why can't I remember their name? I saw him play at one of the theaters around here. And when he was up there, he's on stage and he's like, "Hey, we had an off night, so we're at the hotel." And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna jump across the tracks and I'm gonna go to New Haven, Connecticut, and I'm going to go to Cafe 9, which is a great punk rock club." This man said that on stage and was actually at Cafe 9 the night before. I've spoken to the owner since then. Apparently, his photographer is very good friends with the owner. So now you and I are going to be watching the touring schedule and, you know, see if he has an off night the day before he plays somewhere in Connecticut. And we're going to go meet Frank Turner at Cafe 9.
Not that I hope he has an off night.
Exactly.
Like Cafe 9.
And then if we're really smart about it and we look totally into the future, right? That's when we have the Coffey Shane Penguin show at Cafe 9. I'm just saying, put it out there, you know.
I'm gonna mark it in my calendar. You know, whenever I see him on tour in the United States again.
So
Frank is
yeah. Well, what brought you to appreciate Frank Turner, and do you also appreciate Beans on Toast, not the entree, the songwriter that he actually just produced his record?
Yeah, no, I love Beans on Toast. There's a lot of again, those like singer-songwriter kind of like folk punk musicians. I think of like Beans on Toast, Frank Turner. They've done a lot of work with great Billy Bragg. There's this guy Will Varney, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, that I've actually really gotten into recently. Gosh, he did a show not long ago. When the pandemic was still really going hard, and they were organizing a benefit for this theater in London. That's another thing I love about Frank is he has been like so dedicated and so passionate about supporting the scene, supporting social issues. Like with the pandemic, he's been very responsible about when trying to play. He's had like shows where like everyone has like their little thing to make sure everyone's staying safe, no one's getting anybody sick. But he's still like so dedicated to like making sure like this music stays alive, live streaming and like raising money for venues. I've really admired it. I started getting into Frank Turner, I think I want to say like late 2017 or late or early 2018. And I mean, I don't know, you say like what got me into him. I'm trying to think like what was the first time I heard one of his songs and I was like, oh, I'm not sure. But I remember, as I said, music offers a lot of comfort at times of stress or pain. And I know a lot of his music has done that, like I've gone through some breakups and, songs like Recovery, The Way I Tend to Be have been super comforting, super validating, so I mean, what got me into him, I think, was a lot of his songwriting. I think, I mean, you've compared me to Frank Turner, which I find extremely flattering.
Which is why I brought this up, so we can transition into that next. See, you're looking ahead. I love it.
Thank you very much. I mean, like, I don't want to say anything like I'm just like Frank Turner because he is at a level that I want to be humble because there's things that Frank Turner does that I probably could do, but maybe there's things I can do that Frank Turner could never do. I digress. But I do think his songwriting has inspired me a lot. A lot of my own music has somewhat been emulative of him. He used to play in a band called, I believe it was Million Dead. He fronted them. They were more of a punk band, and then he became more of a singer-songwriter. But even then, he's been able to blend folk and punk in such a beautiful way. And in a way that, in no disrespect to like other folk punk musicians, but he's done it in a way that I haven't seen in other folk punk musicians. Like maybe Beans on Toast, I think, has much more of a traditional folk punk sound and way of going about things, but Turner just brings in. He has his live band. It's amazing. And I think, not only in my songwriting, but I think somewhat in my stage presence as well, he's been someone I've tried to emulate, like I've played in bands with like drummers, bassists and such, but I've also played a lot of shows where it's just me acoustic. And, I think there is something to be said about like watching enough like Frank Turner shows and seeing like his interaction with the audience and such that, it has inspired me. And, I think, if I can humble brag real quick,
floor is yours.
I am actually, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself, I think, for creating, when I've done solo shows, for creating such an energy, from other people's words, like I've never seen like a solo performer do that sort of thing, like I remember I was on a small tour late 2019. And I was playing at in Philadelphia. And, there's a bunch of bands going on before me. There was like some singer-songwriters and some punk bands. And I was going on last. And I was kind of like, oh boy, Like I wasn't expecting that because there's full bands, but at the same time, I was like, well, I know I can do it. So, and again, not to toot my own horn, but like I'm really proud of just, again, being a headlining act, like how much I was able to generate so much energy. And I think a lot of it, jumping back to like being humble and being personable, the secret to doing that and to generate so much energy in this like, starting mosh pits and such is, having that authenticity, having that humbleness, and, not going up there and trying to be like, how do I put it? Don't try to go up there and try to be something that you're not. Be yourself. But I mean, you also, I say I'm trying to be humble, but you got to go up there, and I'm saying this to any performers out there that are just getting started playing music, it's a balance you've got to make, but you don't want to go up there and play a show and be arrogant. You don't want to go up there and be disingenuous and like look down on people. But you do have to go up there and, have the confidence to think to yourself like, yeah, I can do this, and I know I'm going to put on a good performance. Because, it's very tough, I think, to convince the audience that, you're amazing if you don't believe it yourself. But, like I opened up that show. I actually opened it up with Songs for Sarah, which, there, I'm really like singing my heart out, something very, very personal to me. And having everyone get nice and close, which is a little harder to do as we're getting out of the pandemic. Slowly but surely we're getting there. Getting up everyone really close, really show yourself very vulnerable. But then the outro of that song, is like, very fast strumming, very powerful. Once you kind of like get that, you kind of like, for me personally, the way I've done that with that song and so many others, it's a matter of like, letting your guard down, taking down your shield and saying like, hey, it's me unfiltered, it's me vulnerable, sharing for you. And once you can do that, everyone else kind of lowers other people can feel comfortable lowering their own shields and being open like, hey, it's okay. This guy's here to play. This guy can be our friend. And then once, you're at that level, then you can start bringing in, the jumping and dancing. Because I think, and pardon me if I'm kind of like talking in tangents and going all over the place.
It's good. We got you.
A million different places. I guess, yeah, to wrap it up, I think it's a matter of like, it's very important to be humble, to be honest, because that's what's going to help people really be humble and honest with themselves and really just help people like put down these walls, take down this like, again, this is where I'm getting arrogance, thinking that you're better than someone, helping them to like take that down so they can really like be true and honest and really just like share something really special with you. And it's something I learned over time. I've played a lot of shows where I've, haven't really known how to perform to the best of my ability, but I'm pretty proud with how things have been going, and I do think that, like there's been inspiration from Frank Turner and so many other musicians, but yeah, that's the gist.
I love it.
Encompassing,
right?
But I think
but you definitely nailed it, because really, and the theme of this interview, and really between last Friday, today, and who we have coming up next, interview wise, it's genuineness. It's being 100% comfortable in your own skin and then projecting it out there and not pretending that you're anything other than it is. Again, in the wrestling world, it's those who really put their word out there. Yep. Is, those people who find their personality and turn it on to 11. And those are the people that connect the best. And you do that absolutely fantastically.
Oh, absolutely.
Unfortunately, we only have but a couple more seconds of the show before we play your song. But at this point in time, we definitely want to give you the opportunity to share all your socials. How do we get in contact with you? Do you have a hair care product line going on? What are you doing? Let's learn a little bit about, how we can get our cup of coffee.
Hot cup of coffee. All right. So most of my social media can be found, using the same tag that I use for Instagram, which, my tag on Instagram, I think is included, in a lot of the promotional things you've done for the show. But for those who forgot it, it is Coffey No Coffee, spelled CoffeyNoCoffee. That is again Coffey No Coffee, CoffeyNoCoffee. And that will bring you, if you do like facebook.com/coffee no coffee, that'll bring you to my Facebook. If you go on Instagram, do @coffee no coffee, that'll bring you to my Instagram. If you want to email me, it's just David Taylor Coffee, just DavidTaylor Coffee, Coffey, music, music@gmail.com. But otherwise, any of these social media, message me on there. I'll do my best to get back to you.
David, thank you. Appreciate you being on the show. On Behind the Brand on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, New Haven. Check out
We got a mighty vessel with a history, with a track record legendary. Put to hell any noble steed. So take a ride and you'll all see we got fun adventures and awesome weed, but no one ever rides for free, because we're the riders of old We're the riders who won't forget. 200 horsepower will set us free, but our ride's not over yet. With no seatbelts, we'll take a risk in the sacred shrine where we first kissed. There's certain memories I don't miss, but I got my riders who were on my side when we got lost in the city and almost died. We got out, we're still alive, because we're the riders of old Aichi. We're the riders who won't forget. 200 horsepower will set us free, but our ride's not over yet. We'll sneak out when it gets late. We'll eat the greatest food you ever ate, even if the service turns out second rate. We'll run the motor until it dies, but our sole ambition will survive. We'll hoist the mast, again we'll drive, and drive, and drive, and drive, and drive. We're the riders of old Aichi. We're the riders who won't forget. 200 horsepower will set us free, but our ride's not over yet. No, our ride's not